Does it? 'Cause I think it's pretty quick.
It is pretty quick. But I just like to wait anyways because it just makes it easier to edit. What's up, everybody? My name is Indy, and the gentleman right next to me, that's Mr. J. Powell from Powell Group Consulting, and welcome to Indie Game Business. Today we have Liam Twose. I'm pronouncing that right?
Twose. It's fine.
Twose? Okay, so you know what? It looks like it's something, and it's always something. It's like the Tracey brothers, right?
Yes.
Okay, Liam Twose. And tell us about you, Liam. What are we here for? What are we doing?
Well,
yeah. So we're here because Liam does a lot of really awesome stuff, and I want to share that with everybody. So, Liam, before we get into the whole everything that you're doing, tell us a little bit about how you got into the industry or became interested in the industry and what you've done to this point.
So I've been pretty much making games my entire life. So I started on the BBC, knee high, made a duck game, and then I was hooked since then. To be honest, I moved on to the Amiga, then moved on to the PC, and settled on the PC. Then I launched 30 Day Dev back in 2014, which was really successful. Made a few games, probably not made as many games as I probably should have, but and now obviously launching Picture Game.
So the first time that I met you was through the Trello board that you have. So that is, and we've got the link for everybody to go to, but that is amazing. It is just an absolute wealth of resources for developers. So when did that come about, and how? Just tell us about that project in general.
Well, the Global Games Industry Guide, for the last 2 years I've had a very, very difficult time dealing with anxiety and depression, and I've come full circle, but there's still issues in my life at the moment. But the guide, it was really hot one night, and I couldn't sleep, and I can't sleep anyway. So it was a case of I had to fill my time with something. So I got the idea to put together some links, and I realized after a while that I was getting quite a few links. I needed somewhere to kind of manage it a bit more. I manifested into what is now the massive resource that it is, which I tend to curate quarterly, so ensure it's up to date and stuff.
So can anyone go out and add stuff to it? Sorry, I missed that. I had to run off and shut off the water real quick. Is it, or they just do the submissions through the different?
Just submissions. I tend to I keep my ear to the ground, is it? So I see stuff and I'll add it in, etc. based on recommendations and what I see on the internet and what I see happening in the industry, etc. And I do know that there's a lot of stuff that's not on there. So I'm always looking at what I'm missing, etc.
And no one else helps you with it. It's basically just you, right?
No, pretty much it's just me. I mean, people have suggested stuff, and and I thank everyone that's helped me in terms of. Turn my phone off.
So we've got, and I don't know if Indy can pull. We're using all this new tech, and I don't know what we can show and what we can't. But you did the Global Game Industry Guide Awards last year. That was very cool. We were nominated, and I think we won a runner-up somewhere. But it's really about going out there and the same thing we do. It's like really helping these developers. I mean, there's stuff on there for support groups and accelerators and publisher lists and just all kinds of stuff. I appreciate you doing this. I mean, that's the main thing. It's just like, this is a really, really good resource. And people just basically need to know about it. So what do you? I mean, I don't know how deep the analytics on the go. What are people most interested in, or can you tell, on the back end from, just the board in general?
I can't tell anything because Trello's got nothing of that.
See, I don't use I don't use Trello myself, so half the time I can't figure out what it does.
The only thing I can say is that, I guess millions of people, maybe I don't know how many people bought the Itch.io bundle for the racism, stand up to racism. I included it in there to help bolster the the content, which was really cool. So I was glad to be part of that.
So, and then the latest thing that you've done is you're doing a pitch your game session, and so I've been in and out and saying, yeah, I can help, and then I get swamped with stuff. So one, tell us what that is, and then let's walk through where in the lifespan it is, where in the pipeline we are with that project right now.
Well, Pitch Your Game was an idea I had to basically help people whenever you're tweeting, unless you've got like a good following and unless you've got a good network, there's a strong chance that when you tweet something, you got zero response, you get zero uptake, nothing. And it kind of it's a thing that a lot of developers and a lot of indie game developers, etc., experience on a day-to-day basis. And I wanted a method to alleviate that, to reduce that kind of problem. Because obviously with my anxiety and depression, I had to take a backseat from Twitter for quite some time. And returning to Twitter, I noticed that my engagement levels had gone hit rock bottom. I was getting zero again. So it kind of reminded me of how it felt to be back at square one. So obviously I had the idea for Pitch Your Game. I had an inkling it would be popular, but possibly not to the level that it actually was on the day, with it trending twice and the amount of uptake and the amount of people engaging with it, which was cool. But yeah, it's all about just giving indie developers and game developers a platform to basically talk about their game, and to get seen. Oh, lost audio.
Yeah, you're muted. Yeah, I knew that. I totally knew I was muted. I don't know what y'all talking about. So what I was saying is, we've got a lot of developers who are pitching games and want to pitch games, or even folks that want to give feedback on games. So tell us how the process works. What do they need to do? When's it going to happen? How does it work? All that kind of good stuff.
So the next round is on the 30th of June. It starts at around about 08:30 BST. So that's UK time, but I've tried to kind of give a good kind of time zone, but it's difficult. So we might end up extending it over a couple of days in future to capture more time zones. But the main thing is to go to pitchyourgame.com, read the information, read the rules, read the tips. There's pitching tips on there, which gives everyone everything they need to know about how to pitch on the day. During the day, we'll be opening pitch critique up. So channels will open with developers and stuff and publishers and who are watching the hashtag. And they'll be opening their channels to give critique out and to help people with advice on the pitching side.
Does anybody need to apply, or is it just, come Friday, they start pitching in Twitter?
It will literally just be, the hashtag will open on Friday on Twitter, and that's it. And then I will be doing a little run up to the launch, etc. Hopefully. And then, the floodgates will open.
So, and this is where my Twitter, I am not good at Twitter, which is my biggest like worry coming up on Friday. It's like, I am going to screw this up.
Yeah.
How? So when you say open the hashtag, it's not like it's a private hashtag. It's just like, that's when you're going to start using the hashtag and we just need to follow it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's ways you can follow the hashtag. There's quite a few ways. I'm trying to build a tool that allows you to view the hashtag in different ways for people that maybe aren't so Twitter savvy, or to help people like even just to drill down into the into the hashtag a bit more. So if you're looking for specific stuff, then that would be cool. But that's work in progress. So essentially, yes, just it is about everyone just watching the hashtag on the day and looking at all the amazing indie games from all over the world, pretty much.
So then if I am, one of the people that's critiquing, I just need to follow the hashtag and drop in comments under, what they're doing.
What happened in round one was publishers like Johan, Scouts like Johan and others opened up a thread and invited people to pitch at them, if you like, or to share their pitch as well with them, and then they can open up channels to kind of like give feedback, etc., via DM or for normal Twitter pitch critique, they'll just do that live. But if it's pitch deck and stuff like that, the meat stuff, then they do that private. All that's done privately.
So if I want to critique somebody on Friday, I need to DM them.
No, I mean, for general critique, if they're open to it, I mean, it's all consented. It's all like kind of like they've requested the critique. For like a Twitter pitch, just a normal standard Twitter pitch, then yeah, the critique can be done live as long as it's constructive, etc. And not like, but generally, if it's detailed and stuff, then it's better. A lot of people prefer to do it private anyway. It's fairer on the developers, etc.
So, what do you have an idea based on what you've done so far in terms of like what they're going to be pitching? Are people going to be posting, short videos or decks or just like elevator pitches?
Elevator pitches. Majority is elevator pitches. If you like the quick grab someone and before they hit the elevator and tell them your game in about 2 seconds before they run off. So yeah, it's the day's mostly about elevator pitches, but we open channels up to allow critique for the other, for more in-depth critique.
Because that's always the thing that gets me is and you know this, and anyone who works in games knows this. Whenever you're out in the public anywhere and people are like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, well, I work in video games." Everyone's like, "I got a great idea for a video game." I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? You and everybody else too." The catch comes down like into the meat of it. What does it look like? Have you been? Is there any work on it? That's the kind of thing that really matters. But I like the idea of, okay, let's get out there and, even if it's just, this is who we are and this is what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is people pitching at the end of the day, it's down to what audience they're trying to reach at the time, the current state of development. For example, if you've only just had the idea, then you're pitching it as a kind of like a prototype. If you look after funding and develop, all publishers, then you would obviously have to maybe tailor the tweet a bit more to them, and so it really depends on the stage of development you're in. But there's no reason why someone can't just tweet about their game. It's in the sense that like Screenshot Saturday works, but the idea behind the whole picture game was it's my job to get people's eyes on the hashtag on the day. So that's everyone from publishers to media to to everybody, basically, as many eyes as I can get, and that's the difference between a routine, a normal hashtag versus pitch your game. It's about pitching your game and actually being seen.
So, based on who you've talked to so far, and you've got a Discord, there's a Discord server, around it as well. If you don't mind, do we have that link? If you don't mind, put that in.
Let me think.
Drop it in the StreamYard tab, and it'll post it everywhere. And along those lines, anyone out there who's listening, if you have questions about how to pitch your game properly, we can cover that. Questions about the hashtag and the event on Friday, that as well. Or if you've got questions on the gigantic global games industry guide, pop that in chat too. We'll see it. We'll be able to, ask Liam live here on the show. But, based on the folks that you've talked to so far, do you have an idea of any specific publishers or investors or media that are in and they're going to be there?
There's quite a few. I mean, I won't name names as such, but we're working on an actual page which is going to highlight who's actually watching the hashtag more, which is going to be good. Just need to confirm quite a lot of people that are planning to go on it. But one such as Whitethorn Games, they're definitely going to be watching. So perhaps them. I believe Modern Wolf had said they would be, they're up for offering pitching advice and stuff again next time. By the way, the event's actually running on Tuesday the 30th, not Friday.
I've been thinking Friday was the 30th. Oh,
I wish it was Friday, to be honest. I can't sleep.
It's no one knows what day of week it is anymore.
I can't sleep anyway, so but now it's it's like someone just told me I'm going to Disney.
All right, I'm gonna have to update because I had time marked off on Friday to do this.
Oh man, you've marked someone up on Friday, were you?
Oh, okay. So that would have been
my day. So it's the 30th, which is a Tuesday. It will run every Tuesday, last Tuesday of the month.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be an ongoing thing then.
Oh yeah. Because it was always planned to be an ongoing thing, but initially I'd said weekly, but then I was like, I wasn't being realistic at all.
It's like, we found out with this show, hey, let's do this. It won't be that time consuming. And then it's like, oh my God, this is like
However, I will say we've nailed it right down now. The event is all about the games on the day. I classic feature creep the event as well. So, I've realized that, I've not taken my own advice and I totally went wayward with it.
Oh, so trust me. It'll get worse.
I've stripped it right back, and it's just literally about pitching on the day now, and we'll be giving critique along, different areas as well, like store pages and stuff like that, because we want to improve the industry as a whole and to highlight, more people in different ways, and hopefully, get some good eyes on the day. For example, we gave Stellix Software the award for best Twitter pitch last time. And they've had several publishers contact them. They've been in media. They've been, it's been great. So that's the reason why we're doing the event is to put people in the spotlight.
So what got cut from this one that you want to add back in later on?
Everything pretty much. To be honest, it's a lot of work, a lot more work than you'd think. And we, time is going so fast. It's like, it's going to be Tuesday before we know it. So I took on board people's concerns, etc. And also I'd taken on board people's confusion as well, because I've noticed people were getting confused with everything that we were doing. And so I've stripped it all right back to allow us to get to a point where it'll roll nice and easily monthly. And then we can look at other things between the rounds, maybe. So to highlight the games between the rounds that pitch on the day. This
is why I love this, because at the end of the day, and this is partly why we've seen so many digital events pop up too. You're
Yeah,
right. It's more work than you think it is,
Yeah.
but it's a load less work than it is doing like an on-site,
Yeah.
competition. And so, but the beauty of that is it makes it more accessible. So it's
Yes.
not like, well, I can't pitch my game because I can't get a flight to San Francisco. It's right there on Twitter for, anyone and everyone to look at and to give you feedback on. And, for developers that are out there and listening, opportunities like this aren't situations where you need to be, like all wrapped around an NDA. And it's like, well, I don't want to talk about my game because somebody might steal it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the game industry. That's that's just simply a reality. It doesn't matter how good your idea is. It matters how good you execute.
100%. Yeah. For
So
years, I was reluctant to share anything of mine for that fear. And it's just, you just can't do it. You just can't, if you, it's a bit like, say, like, hey, there's my game kind of thing. It's launched now. In this day and age, you just can't do that.
It's absolutely, how do you go out and execute on it? How do you go out and, evolve your game, keep it current, that sort of stuff? That's what ends up making the difference in whether or not you've got a good project or another one. So based on the rounds that you've seen so far, what type of, is there any advice, anything that you can, in tips and tricks that you can share with the crowd in terms of when they do it?
Well, I mean, one of the things is to get involved, because I didn't actually realize until afterwards, it didn't twig really, that the hashtag acts like a leaderboard in a way as well. So when you obviously tweet, and if a lot of people, obviously engage with that tweet, then you get bumped right up to the top. And then obviously if people are following the hashtag, then you're going to be right at the top still, and it is literally, I mean, Philomena Schwab was one of the games that was at the top spot. In fact, I think they took the top spot with 6,000 plus likes, and she said that was like the most likes she's ever had on a tweet ever. Because obviously, that over the course of the day, she just kept going up, and sat at the top. Now that we're opening more awards, it's going to be more exciting as well, because we've got I think 10 awards possibly, which is everything from best Twitter pitch to, there's 3 best Twitter pitches: gold, silver, bronze. Then there's in fact, let me pull up the awards because that'll be easier for me to collect. He says,
I'm sitting here looking at that. So now I've like gone down this whole rabbit hole because we had so much other stuff going on when you did the one in May that I didn't get to get involved. And now I'm sitting. So here's one from Timmy, and it's Monkey Island, but in first person 3D.
Yeah,
and you throw your verbs to interact.
Oh, it's mint, isn't it?
And he's got a little video there, and it's
and then the interaction on that tweet. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, he's very humble in terms of, like, he makes games because he enjoys doing it. He's not, which was really, really cool to see. So yeah, it's because I think I crowned him on the best top 25 of all of them. And he was very humble when he took the crown. He didn't really want the crown. He was like, no, I don't do that for this. So yeah, the categories for the Pig Awards, we've named the officially Pig Awards, which is Picture Game Awards, but in short. So we've got best Twitter pitch ×3, gold, silver, bronze. Then we've got best store page, best visuals, best trailer, best audio music, best most inventive, and most viral. And the reason for all those is because we want to increase the message and the quality of the message people are putting out about their games across the industry, and that's one of the ways we can do that. So it's facilitating improving the games industry at the same time.
And I hadn't thought about it in terms of, but yeah, you're right. I mean, just simply by likes and reshares, it does end up, treated like a leaderboard.
Like a leaderboard, yeah. And I didn't even realize. I didn't twig until after. I was like, oh my god, yeah. So what you can do as well is you can, I've got some really cool ways of reverse searching and stuff, so you can look at the bottom, and to highlight some of the people that maybe didn't get picked up on the day, and unfortunately that is going to happen, but the chances of it happening are a lot better. Your odds are a lot better in terms of like rather than just tweeting on an average day with just a few hashtags. So yeah, it's exciting, and it's I'm excited to launch round 2. We worked really hard putting it all together, and hopefully we've got a nice structure to go forward with.
So this is something that I was talking to a publisher literally yesterday about this. It's having these opportunities for developers to pitch. And you've got one side that wants to do it like a Shark Tank thing where people are like bidding on it, but just to simply get basic feedback on what your pitch is and how you're doing your pitch. And we've had some folks on the Discord ask, it's like, so here's what we want to do, and I told one of them at one point, I said, you're having trouble explaining what the game is. Yeah. And if you can't simply explain it yourself, no one else is going to get it. You can't market it if you can't describe it.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, we are no good at doing that ourselves half the time. I think it's probably because we have tunnel vision when it comes to our own projects. So you need the outside influence. You need the outside kind of angle. Perspective.
You do, and we just had a raid. Thanks, Games UK Studios, for the raid. Appreciate that. I just happened to be looking at Twitch when I saw that come in. And part of it is, and I know that I'm an anomaly, but most studio. I mean, I've pitched hundreds, and I've been pitched probably thousands of games over the years. But to the average studio, you pitch a project maybe once a year, maybe once every 2-3 years. It's not something that you're constantly doing, and so you're constantly getting better at it. And opportunities like this are absolutely perfect, to sit down and say, okay, look, this is the game, this is what we're doing. And in my opinion, if you can post that, a GIF or whatever it may be to give a sense of what it looks like, that's even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then if you want to go into the whole deck, I mean, we've actually got a infographic we did on how to do a deck. But this is absolutely awesome for just basically helping people hone that elevator pitch, because that's what is so important. You have to be able to grab somebody's attention like immediately and go, oh, wait, that sounds pretty cool. I mean, it's the reality of the industry. I just knocked something off my desk. No idea what that was. So
I'm to get the link to the Discord as well. I'm failing.
And so there's a place on your Discord as well.
Picture game. In fact, the link is on the website. What am I like? Let me just.
But you can go into Liam's Discord, and there's actually channels for pitch critiques or store and site critiques. Is Hannah from Fail Better Games on your Discord? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think is she team in? Is it Love Indies or Love Indie?
I don't know. No. I don't think so. I'll reach out because she used to do back in the days when we commuted to a real office, which is starting to sound like, ancient history. But she would, like, once a week when she was on the tube, she would just tweet out, it's like, hey, I'm just commuting in, link me your Steam page and I'll give you feedback on it. I'll reach out to her and see if she knows.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, because we're looking to open up different channels on the day. Steam pages is one of them for definite. Store pages. So if anyone's got expertise in that area, then yeah, more than welcome. Join up.
And it's the other thing is, it's not like you have to be an expert at doing this to give somebody feedback. And that's the whole thing about our show here in general is there are things that I take for granted in terms of knowledge that I assume everyone has, and it's like, well, I don't need to give them that feedback. Surely they know that.
Yeah,
they don't sometimes, and that's not that's just simply because they're new to the industry. They don't do this all the time. So even if you're new to it, giving feedback and building that dialogue it's helpful to everybody. So
people talking as well, it gets there's been quite a few, like people, gathering together, and you can see that they've followed each other and stuff, and they're chatting now, so it's a community as well, there's a community spirit behind it, which I think will grow over time, more as well.
It's like one of the problems that I see is, with the whole world getting thrown into chaos like it has, everybody's trying to step up and help. And we see that in terms of like indie game competitions, in terms of digital events. Like Indy knows, anyone who listens to the podcast knows, I was jumping up and down and preaching digital events all year last year. Nobody wanted to listen. And now all of a sudden everybody's doing one. It's like I'm in the midst of the Brazilian big digital this week right now.
It just popped up from nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. There was a couple of weeks ago, I had 3 digital events going on the same week.
Yeah.
The problem that I see, and one of the things that we're trying to, help fix with you can call it cross marketing, you can call it just helping each other out, is, people getting out there and saying, oh, wait, you're doing this and they're doing this. Let's get everybody together and talk about it. It's almost like there's too many people trying to help right now. And so things can get lost.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I think the industry needs to work together more. Definitely. And we're starting to see it, obviously, with recent events and stuff. We're also seeing Discord again, for obvious reasons. But yeah, we just all need to band together and
because we've got
the industry.
So this is going to be on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have the. I think it may be going on right now. What's the UK hashtag indie that is a game? Oh God, what is it? There's a game dev hour. Is that it? I think that might be it.
Yeah, hashtag game dev hour on Wednesday.
Yeah. Is that Indie Dev Hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the Indie Dev Hour? I remember.
Yeah. I remember Indie Dev Hour. It's been a
while.
I
mean,
that's been going on for a while. For years.
Years, isn't it? Yeah. Since, I'm sure it's since 2014-ish. I'm sure it's that far back.
So, even getting folks in there, this is just one of those things that I think as time goes on, we're going to get more centralized, and people will gravitate to one thing or another, because that's what sucks. It's like, if you've got a bunch of people watching one hashtag and not the other hashtag, then
I totally get you. Yeah,
nobody's winning. And so it's always one of those things we want to be able to, communicate and cross these things as much as humanly possible. And get everybody out there helping. So what is, after we get through this week, is it going to be another month before you do another one? It's like, what's next after next Tuesday?
After next Tuesday, it is the last Tuesday of every month, penciled in as. So that's the aim.
Are you going to look to grow it between this month and next month?
To be honest,
in terms of the feature creep that you had to cut out?
No. The only thing I'd like to do is do a bit more in between the rounds. I think just a little bit more in terms of like gathering lists of like specific games and stuff that have pitched, and spotlighting some more people in my view, and maybe open up channels to give advice between as well.
So one of the things, I mean, you and I talked about it briefly, and this is what I was talking about with the publisher yesterday, is getting some folks on and doing this live. I don't know if we could do it next Tuesday or not. I have no idea what's going on, but
I mean, that would be cool if we could do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, we watch the hashtag and, get a couple of people on and comment on it live.
I mean, that would, I'd be all for someone setting that up, I'm quite open to watching what people do on the next round and see what works and what doesn't work and what people gels with people. I mean, that's one reason. Another reason for stripping it all back is because we can really focus on stuff, which means that stuff is going to stand out more, But yeah, if people want to stream and stuff, I'm totally, go for it, go wild.
So how active was it like all day long?
The entire day.
Oh, seriously?
It was. And then the tail off was 14 days ish. Still wasn't, people were still using the hashtag after, but we have got a few incentives to kind of hopefully claw it back a little bit by maybe trying to drop that tail off a little bit so people don't get annoyed. But we're going to try and, obviously with the awards, the cut-off hour is 6 o'clock BST. So any tweets after 6 o'clock will not be entered into or considered for the awards. So that might drop the hashtag, over the course of the day a little.
So how are you going to do the awards? Is it just like a judging, or are you going to go straight from engagement?
We have a judging panel, so we have a judging panel of I think 11 or 12 people, all from the industry, from different parts of the industry, which is cool. We can't divulge who, etc. But yeah, it's going to be good. So on the day we might probably get them to give out the awards as well, which will be cool. Which is going to be a digital award at the moment, but I am looking at getting a physical award because I think that would be like that's my dream, would be to actually hand out physical awards to people. Obviously from a distance.
So
just lob them across the ocean, whatever. Yeah.
We can get like little label pins, and so that way, if we ever actually end up in situations where we go to conferences anymore, you could,
I would love stuff like that, but obviously it's not for profit, so we're not making any money, etc. We're doing this because we're already in the industry. It's something like all the publishers that are getting involved. It's what they do anyway, So it is for them to join in,
And let's be blunt, and this goes for companies like, my consulting firm as well as publishers in general. Anytime you do something like this, that means you're going to get access to games that you might not have normally seen. So it's like in your best interest to be paying attention to this stuff, or at least having somebody on your team doing it.
Yeah.
Because there's opportunities that come from it.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's, Stellax Software, who we awarded best Twitter pitch, they've had interest since. So yeah, it's good. And they're a Switzerland based dev team of like 2 main people, and then I think 5 in total, and they're only a small indie dev team. And, so we've helped, bolster that, which is good. And that's what it's all about. Spotlighting people.
It's have you had I guess you probably not, and I'm going to further say probably not that you could talk about even if you did. But I mean, do you know if any publishing deals have come out of it yet?
Not currently, but I'm pretty sure we'll be the first to hear. I know that. Well, it's inevitable. It's going to happen one day, isn't it? I dare say it's going to happen because there's people watching the hashtag at the end of the day, and there's people seeing all these great games. I mean, there's some of the games that were shown. Vember game from, that was amazing. A cooking game, who Rami Ismail, got behind, which was cool. So things like that. It's about visibility at the end of the day, and doing everything we can to get eyes on their games on the day. That's everyone from streamers to publishers to funders to investors, everybody that, essentially wants to see their games, or they want to see their games, you know what I mean?
I'm still sitting here scrolling through the last one.
Yeah, exactly. I've literally, I think the stats are it generated 12,000 tweets. So I mean, obviously some of those are retweets, etc. But if you even just half, that's like 6,000. It trended twice on the day, so that helped. Then I mean, in terms of like the stats, approximately 28 million impressions with approximately 8.8 million audience.
Damn.
I mean, I can't, I'm not, they're not exact figures because obviously it's a metric, but they're going to be pretty high, and it was like to put it into perspective, when I ran 30-day dev a while back in 2014, that blew up because people resonated with the message. And it had, I think, 30 million impressions over the lifetime, which was about 4 years. So you can see that, like, the comparison between, like, 4 years and 1 day. 30 million in 1 day versus 30 million over 4 years. So it was just insane.
All right, I'm going to ask a question that I don't know if you can answer, and I don't know if anyone can answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Okay. Is there a way that maybe this is a question for Corey? Is there a way we can put a channel on our Discord that's going to automatically pull the tweets with the hashtag into a Discord room?
That would be pretty cool. I am not the person to answer that question.
However, Corey on the phone. He's
Indie Game Lover, who set up our Discord, may well know. She deals with bots and all sorts. She's done a fantastic job on the server. And before it was a mess, she has made it what it is.
That's a like skill all of its own too, working the Discord server. Yeah. All right, so we got a question out here from Cave Shaman on Twitch. I don't care about awards, more the feedback aspect. Cool. Would it be acceptable to post a poll of a handful of different ideas with this hashtag? My current project takes a lot of time, so I'm in an exploratory phase regarding future stuff.
At the end of the day, I mean, to answer that question, I'd say, experiment with a hashtag and try stuff like that. Because, I mean, I'm all up for people using it in different ways. It's not all about pitching a game that's either ready or pitching a game that's, it's the message pitch your game is kind of like more like just talking about your game. I'm getting comfortable talking about your game, getting comfortable explaining your game. And so, exploring ideas is a good reason to use it because, if you get feedback on the day, then brilliant. What have you lost? You've lost nothing by doing that. And you stand potential to gain some really good feedback.
Ooh, a question from Nightwolf too. Let's get Night's a follow-up question. Can you pitch a game design for potentially growing a dev team?
You're more than welcome to try that. I mean, I can't guarantee it will work because I don't really know how people generally get together, etc. I'm a one-man band 9 times out of 10 anyway. So although I going forward, I'd like to launch a proper studio one day. But that's in the works. In the works.
Do you not see my background, Liam?
It's on fire. He's on fire. His whole everything's fire and it's burning.
This is fine. Let me just start a studio. That's
Exactly, yeah.
It's famous last words, man.
I know.
So
fine.
I am,
Or at least get a publisher.
I'm close to figuring out how to do this. Apparently, you need to use Zapier or something like IFTTT.
If this then that would be, yeah. I used to use that before.
I did too. I used to use it. I don't use it anymore.
I don't use it anymore.
And now I'm going, wait a minute.
I should really look at that again. But then I might get lost in that. It was quite a.
It's dangerous.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's very, very dangerous. And if anyone out there has never used if this then that, and it's just like ifttt.com, it's got all these like web hooks that are automatically set up for you. So
web hooks.
So
that's
the key to Discord is the webhooks.
It's the webhooks. Yeah, I noticed the term webhooks. I didn't realize that was what an if this then that was, a webhook. Right.
All right, but hold on. I'm not saying Discord doesn't have an IFTTT. Anyway, what it does is, so before we moved to the house that we're in now, this was a vacation house and it's up in the mountains. So in the winter, it gets cold, but I could literally set IFTTT to, because we had a Nest thermostat at the time. When my phone got within 60 miles of the house, it would automatically turn the heat on in the winter. And
that's a good idea.
It was just random like that,
Yeah. Ultimate use.
Apparently, they don't have native support for Discord.
No, but if there's a thing,
you create
IFTTT Discord guide.
Oh, there is one? Okay.
Yeah, here, I'll post a link in chat.
That would be, immense if we could do stuff like that.
If we can do that, then I'll put a channel on our Discord server that has them coming in.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because
I'm all for people, running with it at the end of the day. If you've got ideas, then go for it. Because at the end of the day, it helps the people that are pitching on the day. At the end of the day, all these things.
And so another use, building on what Nightwolf asked, we see studios a lot of times, they'll say, okay, this is the game we're doing now, and then we're looking at doing 3 others later. Which one, are you most interested in? And while you might think that's a good way to approach a publisher, it's like instead of pitching one game, you're only pitching 3. It actually works in your against you.
Yeah.
Because that publisher looks and goes, well, you don't know what you want to do. That's not gonna, that's not the message that you want to send. So, situations like this and opportunities like this gives you a chance to pitch 2 or 3 different things that you're thinking about doing maybe, and seeing which one gets the better response. Because if there is this much engagement going on, then it's absolutely going to be a good litmus test of what your game will do.
Essentially split testing, isn't it? So like you would do with marketing, two options. The other thing I would suggest maybe is if anyone's uncomfortable with pitching live as well, we have opportunity to pitch in private as well. Because people can be uncomfortable for many reasons, pitching about the game and stuff. So but we still want to be able to help those people. If so they can tweet at Team Pig or message DM Team Pig, and we'll pick it up.
And that's one of the things that we do on our server. I recently became a ambassador for the Women in Games initiative, and I completely stole this idea from them before I signed up to be an ambassador. But they do coffee talks, like it'll be a Zoom meeting, but instead of like being a webinar that goes out to 100 some people, it's only like 8 or 12 people, and they just talk about some sort of topic back and forth. And I started, I opened up a thing on our Discord so we can do the same thing. I've only done one so far. But those are, I'm always approachable. There's a lot of folks in the industry who are, like that as well. And just say, hey, look, would you mind looking at our pitch? And as long as you're not sending me like a 50-page design document, I'm good. I'll sit there and, I'll tell you, I had a meeting with a studio in Latin America this week, and they started off by saying, hey, look, I really appreciate the talk that you did a few weeks ago where I, went over how you find the right publisher and what you do to pitch and all that kind of good stuff. And it's like, I really took it to heart. And then he starts walking me through his deck for the game. And I'm like, oh my God, you really did. This is like everything I said to put into a deck, and it's all here perfectly. And it's just, we don't mind, helping studios do this because that's why we're here, and not going to lie, there's the selfish reason of I might see something before somebody else does. And so it's a benefit all the way around.
100%.
And it's easy to say, well, don't be shy, just do it. But that's just not reality. Not everyone is comfortable doing this. But you need to find some way to do it. And that's the thing. Make a fake Twitter account. Put your pitch up that way. If you don't want it coming back to you, but it's one of those that, these are skills that developers really, really need to learn.
Yeah.
And anything that we can do to support that and build on that, through what we do, either, professionally or as a hobby, it's something we should do.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing with the hashtag as well is, when it's got multifunction. So, you've got your publishers looking at it, then you've got your games media looking at it, and then you've got gamers looking at it in terms of, hey, look, there's some really cool games here. Oh, cool. I'm going to check this out kind of thing. So, yeah, it's and that's one of the beauties of it. But yeah, in terms of pitching, it's definitely a skill we all, we don't know how to describe our own games generally the correct way. We have very, very tunnel vision. So yeah, helping people. It's all about helping people.
So we got a big long question.
A long question. Oh, okay.
You want me to go for it?
Yeah, go for it, because I'm going to
tell
Jordan where we.
I'll do my job. Oh, I got to look over it here. I've seen other studios post lots of possible projects too, and I was always wondering if that was a good idea or not. Initially, it seems to make their websites feel more robust, but after seeing that there's barely any content in any of the games, it feels kind of shallow. So, quick question: is pitching a game that is already released a good idea? I have basically no connections with media outlets and have not had much success with social media.
All right, so this is one of those questions that I'm going to throw to you first, Liam. In terms of rules, where does that fall in the rules?
I've forgotten the question now because it was that long.
Can they pitch games that have already been launched?
I don't see why not. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about pitching your game, no matter what stage of development you're at. I mean, you're pitching your game to a store. If your game's made, you're pitching it to a store that's going to sell it. If your game's not made and you want funding to make it, then you're pitching it to a publisher. If your game's halfway there, then you're pitching it to get an audience, or whatever. It literally just depends on the stage of development you're at. So yeah, people are more than welcome to post games beyond, that have already been released. I don't see why not.
That's such a good answer. So, from my side, I would say, yes, absolutely do it, because it is still promoting your game. I mean, you're always, as long as your game is on the store, before or after, you should be pitching your game. Somebody needs to, look at it and buy it. And so there are, companies that come to us that already we've got a couple of clients right now that have already launched their games on PC, but they're looking for console ports. And, there is a lot of benefit that you can get out of it. And it's like goes to the channel on Liam's Discord too, where it's like give me store critique on my, Steam page, that sort of thing. So I would say, yes, absolutely pitch it on Tuesday. And
the thing is as well is like one of the benefits of the hashtag is if somebody's got a game that's ready on a store, then the likelihood is if you end up like at the top of the leaderboard, then there is going to be potentially a lot of visits to your store, which could really, could convert to purchases or wish lists, etc. You know what I mean? So it's worth doing,
And here's the other thing that I would bring up before, if if we want to get really competitive and get into the meta of this, look up the hashtag, go to hashtag pitch your game and see if there are, similarities between the posts of the ones that got the most upvoted. My guess is that if you have some sort of image, it's going to do better than if you don't have an image. And if you have a GIF, it's going to do better than if you have just an image. But, if I'm looking at a game that has already been released, I would have, the elevator pitch be the body of the text, a link to my store page as the link, and then a, animated GIF of the gameplay, as something to grab everyone's attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what it's all about. Yeah, that's it. And that's pretty much what the tips page says on the website. It's literally if you've got a link, make sure you use it. If you've got a good GIF, use it. Make sure your text is snappy and on point, and talking to the right people in the right in the right way. For example, if you're going to use a different message if you're talking to publishers than you would if you were using, if you were talking to audience versus media and stuff,
But not all the time though.
No, yeah.
I mean that little elevator pitch, it really shouldn't change that much because your goal is always the same. I mean, this is what I tell developers. It's like when you're pitching your game to the acquisitions person at a publisher, unless you're dealing with a publisher that's only like 3 or 4 people, and trust me, there are good publishers out there that are only 3 or 4 people, then, you're dealing with a situation where whoever you're pitching to is going to have to pitch to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so your job is to make that person's job easier.
Yeah.
So if you have that elevator pitch that goes to the publisher and they go, oh, okay, I get it. They can use that same elevator pitch to go to the media and to go to the consumers when it's time to actually start marketing the game. You want to make sure, it's super tight.
Yeah.
The things that you're going to leave out are like budget, and that shouldn't be in your elevator pitch anyway.
No. I mean, that's beyond, that's the private side, isn't it? That's the DMing side, I think. Also, I think the audience that you target can be influenced by the hashtags that you use alongside hashtag pitch your game, though. That's one thing I would probably recommend. You look at the hashtags that you use alongside. For example, if you predominantly want the industry and stuff, then hashtag indie dev and game dev and stuff like that is good. If you want gamers, then it's probably things like video games and more genre related hashtags. And then obviously so the hashtags that you use alongside are going to make a big difference to who gets to see it as well on the day, alongside the fact that everyone's looking at the hashtag anyway.
So aside from just like scrolling through, I wrote down a question when we first got started on this, and then my brain. Where would you go? Where's a good place to go to, understand which hashtags are doing the best for you? Because when we first started, you said, after you took your break and you came back to social media, you realized your engagement was at the, just rock bottom.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes together. It's like, what did you do to, reignite everything and to get people looking at it, in terms of hashtags or content or whatever. So how did you reignite all that stuff?
Well, I guess I launched Pitch Your Game. So yeah.
Is it just a situation of, constantly, is it a repetition thing? Is it content wise? I mean, so which hashtags do you use to grow the Pitch Your Game hashtag?
I mean, obviously, I would use game dev and indie dev and stuff like that because it's predominantly for developers to get involved with. But finding industry specific hashtags is harder because there aren't as many as say game dev or indie dev or game related hashtags. Like on LinkedIn, you've got stuff like games industry and stuff, but not so much on Twitter. But yeah, it's experimentation as well. I mean, I had one tweet I think I'd posted a while back, and it was basically asking people where their first, experience of game dev was, and that got an absolute shed load of engagement because it resonated and the message, people read it and they wanted to respond to it and stuff. So yeah, it's unfortunately it's one of those things that you've just kind of got to fight your way through. But opening up things like hashtag Pitch Your Game is a way of us combating that and hopefully, getting people more followers as well. Because if their games are highlighted on the day, then the chances are people are going to follow you as a result. Because they're going to want to follow the game, or they're going to join your Discord because they're going to want to follow the game, or they're going to wishlist the game because they're interested, or or if they're a publisher, they're gonna reach out to you and say, hey, can we sign your game?
Hey, here's a check. There we go.
It's gonna happen. It's naturally gonna happen just because it's happening anyway. But it's just a case of like all these people that are maybe going unseen for forever. I mean, even myself. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm massively successful in terms of games, but I've done well in other areas. But so yeah, anything to get yourself in front of the eyes of people on the day is where you need to be. It's like, I know for a fact that like publishers that scour the Screenshot Saturday, I mean, looking for games to sign just on that. So there's another opportunity to when Tuesday's gone, to do Screenshot Saturday. But obviously this is with ours hashtag Pitch Your Game is we've got a lot of people prepared to be watching it, so it's a completely different ball game. It's it's almost like it's an event at the end of the day, as much as it is a hashtag.
And that sums it up. And one of the things I would say is if your game has a Steam page and you have a wish list set up for it, I would absolutely
100%
encourage you to put that link in there, because that's what there's a lot of folks that you can look to, in the industry who do a lot of data analysis on wish list to purchase. And I want to say the last one I saw was somewhere between 20-30%. So 20 or 30% of the people who have wish listed your game are going to buy it initially when it comes out.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I mean, we're getting towards the end of our time here. If anyone else out there has any other questions, pop them in chat. We got a few more minutes and we'll get answered for you. Otherwise, so we just need to get ready for next Tuesday, and it starts at 8:00 Eastern US time, AM.
Well, I don't know. It's BST 0830, so I don't know what that is in time zone. I'm really bad with time zones.
I am too. British. All right, so that's UTC +1, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then it's going to be 3 a.m. East Coast time.
You'll be asleep, but when you wake up, you should.
When I wake up, we should have like a whole load of tweets sitting in there ready to go. So yeah, okay, cool. So we'll get that done. We will also, we've got a newsletter going out tonight. I'll put a post in there for it as well. And then, yeah, we'll be ready to go. Another question. I'm guessing most of the pitchy game viewers are gamers or game devs. So would a hyper casual game stand out like a sore thumb? No, I mean, it's not. I mean, like we've been saying, yes, there are going to be gamers that look at it, but you're also going to have a lot of publishers things as well. And don't dissuade, the hyper casual games. I mean, you got to remember the majority of gamers in the world are mobile gamers. That's just the reality of the industry. So anything and everything is worth promoting up there.
100%. I mean, that's the thing. My aim is to get eyes on the hashtag, and that's one of the things I do in the behind the scenes that no one sees. Is like I am actively seeking people and saying, look, can you look at this hashtag on the day? And these are people that are in the industry that are like working for big publishers. We're hoping to get a page ready, which will give a bit more insight into who exactly is watching. But generally on the day, I mean, if we trend again, which is very likely, then, again, you're already going to have thousands upon thousands of eyes on your game, maybe millions, depends.
Yep.
On the day.
That's awesome. Liam, dude, thank you so much for all that you do. Not only this, but the global games industry guide, Trello board, and I would highly encourage everybody out there, if you haven't gone to that, go to it, because it is absolutely chock full of all kinds of good info for you. But with that, man, we're going to let you go. Indy, you want to?
Yeah, make sure and hit the Discord. Oh, here, let me put it on the ticker right there. Boop. Follow, join the Indie Game Business Discord at discord.gg/indiegamebusiness. And as with all of our other broadcasts, this is going to be on anchor.fm/indiegamebusiness. And you know what? If you like to listen to podcasts while you're working or while you're driving or while you're sleeping, or whenever, just go to anchor.fm/indiegamebusiness. We've got like a bunch of podcasts up there about every subject that has to do with the gaming industry, from publishing to social media to attorney to lawyer stuff. That's the actual term for it. Yeah.
Yes.
You can always watch them later on here too. Not Mixer anymore, but you will be able
to. We didn't even talk about that. That was...
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we didn't talk about, but what we'll be Facebook. We're on Instagram or Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch right now. Instagram. We're going to be on Instagram, and don't forget Jay's OnlyFans.
Yes, there's that one too. There's huge following there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We will see you Friday when our guest is somebody. Let me see.
Somebody to love.
Oh, Andrew Pappas, Indies.
Andrew, yeah, that's right. He's been trying to get on. We've been trying to have him on for a while. That'll be a good one. Thanks so much, Liam.
Super cool. Thank you. Thank you both of you.
Take care. Yeah, everybody have a good day. Stay safe.
See you later.